it really is stunning what we are witnessing in this country with every day. I feel like we have a different story. Florida, the Department of Education rejects social study textbooks over Holocaust material. 33 social studies textbooks were submitted to review for the Florida Department of Education, were rejected for not meeting state standards. Those textbooks cover everything from civics to financial literacy to the Holocaust. It's unclear why they rejected it. Mark Hoppen from the Alpert Jewish Family Service in West Palm Beach said highlighting it's providing care to including 200. Highlighting that point in history is critical to prevent it from happening again. The Holocaust, it didn't start with guns and death camps. It started with words. It started with, sadly, some of the words we're hearing in Palm Beach County today. Some of these anti-Semitic leaflets and projections of swastikas. We're asked all the time by high schools, sometimes elementary, can we bring a survivor to speak to students? And the survivors love it. But the Florida Department of Education brought some new Holocaust educational material into question as it adopts new social studies textbooks. The state released several examples of textbook material that was rejected, including a description of the Black Lives Matter movement. But we don't know exactly what was in the Holocaust textbooks. The state said the history of the Holocaust book received a 3.7 score out of 5 for aligning with subject-specific standards. And a book needs at least 4 to be accepted. A textbook titled Modern Genocide received 2 out of 5. Florida requires instruction on the Holocaust for all students beginning in the 5th grade. But of course, you know, there's probably a requirement for slavery too, but to how you teach it and from what it emanates from. I'm not, this is going to sound inflammatory, but when Ron DeSantis wins his election and says, we are going to be the anti-woke state, what does that mean? If that's not, it's not necessarily the case that you go from that into full-on fascism. But let's be clear, you cannot get to fascism unless you go through what DeSantis is going through. You don't get to fascism without saying we are the anti-woke state. And
what does wokeness mean? Right?
Exactly.
But wokeness is a substitute for blackness, but you just can't say it. Yeah. I mean, blackness, but it's expanded now to, of course, like LGBTQ people. But in its outset, you know, the term woke was like a term previously used by black people to describe people that were enlightened on issues of racism. And now they've made it into a substitute for blackness. Just
like the standards that they're imposing on the schools with Don't Say Gay and all these other books. The point is you can't define it.
Yeah.
And that it is subject to all of the people who's hearing it, what their interpretation of it is. And therefore it has an even greater chilling effect. And it also has a greater, like, sort of inspirational effect for the worst among us. Here is a clip. This is the Faulkner Focus on Fox. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. No, this is on Saturday's CNN, I should say. And Darcy Schoening, Moms for Liberty chapter chair in El Paso, Colorado.
Behind your parents' back. I got your back. I mean, there's a clear move to bring more of that into our schools, and it's just not the school's place.
So what I feel like you're strongly implying, and I would like to get your take on, because I don't want to attribute something that you don't think, but to me it sounds like you're saying there's some kind of high-level coordinated effort to make more children trans and gay.
Yeah.
Well, who's directing that?
Teachers unions and our president and a lot of funding sources, and teachers unions are also heavily backing the curriculum that we're bringing into schools.
Why would they want more kids to be gay and trans?
Because it breaks down the family unit, which breaks down traditional conservative values. It breaks down a lot of things in this country. It changes the way that people think. It changes the way that people handle politics.
Of course, there's no evidence of a coordinated plot to make kids trans.
When I hear those thoughts about like some sort of concerted effort to make people gay, does it sound like a conspiracy theory to you?
It's not a conspiracy theory that the state, whether you're talking about Colorado or the federal government, is taking a stronger and stronger hand in public education, in raising our kids. So do I think that for some reason people want everyone to be gay? That's a mischaracterization of what I think. I think that people will use, the people that want to erode away at parental rights, the left, the teachers unions, they'll use LGBTQ or whatever may be the case at the time. Those are just tools to erode away at parental rights.
Well, it was refreshing to hear her say the teachers unions like multiple times, given what we have spoken about on this program multiple times, like about how attacks on teachers unions are fundamental to the right-wing project right now.
Yeah.
And that means attacks on teachers. Teachers are a broadly unionized workforce, except if they work in private schools and things like that. So,
well, to be clear, the union is just coordinating the plans with Joe Biden.
Oh, I forgot.
To indoctrinate our children into being gay and trans. And why?
Because they hate families.
Because they hate families. And
it's a political indoctrination project. I notice how similar that is to Great Replacement, by the way, which is that like the Democrats are bringing in immigrants from over the border to get more Democratic votes in. I mean, that's like one shade of it, but that's what they're saying here. They're trying to indoctrinate our kids into being gay and trans so that they vote Dem. It's like an electoral conspiracy.
What's also fascinating is this theory that both I will teach my kids values. The better place for me to teach kids values is at the home.
Right.
Yet they're quite convinced that the teachers have the ability to turn their kids trans to go and debilitate the home.
The parents' rights being challenged here is the parents' right to make sure their kids can't pursue a lifestyle that they don't agree with.
Yeah, right. But wow, why do all those every mom looks like that mom who's like, and they all look alike.
Joe Biden, to the extent that he has any sort of cultural, desires to see cultural development in a certain way, we saw him talk when he talked with black leaders before he was sworn in as president. He's like, we'll do it with commercials.
Yeah.
Don't you notice how much diversity there is in commercials? We're actually moving somewhere. That's the extent Joe Biden wants to put his hands on the scale. Is he wants Dannon to have an interracial couple eating yogurt.
It really is. I don't know how you reach someone like that.
You don't.
You have to beat them.
Yeah, you can only defeat them. And by the way, so that's
what's fascinating is the fact that this is happening in Colorado, because you do get to a critical mass where every time a mom for liberty like that comes out and is given the opportunity to espouse that kind of now she wouldn't say it's a conspiracy theory, and she wouldn't say that they're doing it just because they want to turn people gay. It's not like some,
they don't want everybody gay.
It's not that it's the gay agenda. It is really more that it's just a tool in which to elect Democrats by turning everybody gay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Maybe you could just turn them into Democrats, but
But that
doesn't stick.
You need to sneak them into the household and tear down the family structure, because that's the ultimate thing. Is this is a religious war they're fighting.
Yep.
That's ultimately it. But every time one of those moms from liberty type people, whenever they're given the opportunity to articulate this in public, it should be, particularly in these contexts, because the more that people see how nuts these fundamentalists are, the better, I think. Because make no mistake about it, they're doing all the organizing, whether we hear it or not. They're doing all the organizing. Whether people are made aware of it or not, they're doing all the organizing. They have their own network, like literally, like radio, TV, communications network. They're doing all the organizing. It is really important that people understand what this is about. It is about religious fundamentalism. I don't think she said explicitly in that clip that she was a religious fundamentalist. I would be willing to bet everything I own that she is.
Yeah. Yeah. And also good job on that reporter there. She used to be at Vice, and she's done a lot of great work.
Elle Reeve. She's good, yeah.
Yeah.